What's up, y'all? So today is what day of training? Can't think of which day of training. All right, I'm back working the chronic clinic floor. I just want to mention a few things in case you're new and you're like, oh my God, like I've been working in dialysis for 7 years this year, and not being on the floor for 6 months. There's a couple things that really have to come back to my mind. So I say the top thing that came to my mind this morning that concerned me was troubleshooting if the test fell on the machine, like troubleshooting that. I was like, oh my God, do I remember how to troubleshoot? I don't know. Now my preceptor is the type, she's just gonna do it for you instead of call you over. I prefer the call over so that I can know how to do it when it's my turn, right? But anyways, so she just did it, and so then I don't even know what she did. So I'll be calling on them, and most of the people know me here, so I'll be calling on them when I need help. Also, what else? Just remembering like the software that they use. Where I came from, they use PearlCare. This company, they use Chairside. So they're different. Chairside, you gotta actually like, type in certain things. PearlCare, you don't. Like, it's automatic, or like as soon as you, like for instance with Vitals, when you click on that button to make sure you're clocking, I'm gonna call it clocking, or you logging in, or just when you get ready to do your patient vitals, like you can see everything. Versus with Chairside, it's just a little different. More stuff you may have to put in manually that might not come up automatically, which I prefer the automatic. I mean, but it doesn't matter what you prefer. I'm here now. So yeah, that certain things with patients, like how they are. So I do know some patients at this particular clinic. Some of them recognize me, some of them don't. So they're comfortable with me, so that's not that difficult, which is a good thing. Yeah, so it hasn't been that bad. Last week was literally a 6-day work week, so I pretty much did like training throughout the week, and then Saturday they needed a little help, so, and I needed a couple more hours, because when you're in training you can't work over 40 hours a week. So I picked up for a few hours. So, and I also wanted to like get familiar. I'm still getting familiar with things before I'm just on my own. I have been slingshotted, that's what I call it, which is not bad. I'm not saying that to say that it's a bad thing, but I've been slingshotted to work. I'll be working by myself officially on Saturday. So I have been just slung right up in there. So that means I only had like 2 weeks of training technically with this particular company. Some people get less time than that. So I'm glad for that. I mean, I'm ready to just jump onto the floor, only because that's where you really get your training, quote unquote. That's where you're gonna get that experience, really, is by doing it. More so than doing it with a preceptor, depending on the type of preceptor you have. So I know my preceptor, and she's not the type that is like gonna walk through every step and not touch the machine. Versus I would prefer if she just like walked through or pointed it out so that I remember. But that's just not her style. So everybody has different styles. It is what it is with that. But anyways, I hope you guys that have just began are doing okay. It can be hard. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that dialysis is not hard. It is. a hard job, especially when you're first starting, because you're learning so much at once and you're having to implement it at once. So for instance, you're learning how to work and troubleshoot and deal and process like a dialysis machine, as well as cannulate, so that's sticking a patient, and they're making sure their blood pressure's okay. But that's, just remember that mostly for the most part, you shouldn't be doing that by yourself. So for example, like we had a patient come in this morning, and his blood pressure was high, but we readjusted the cuff. So that's a troubleshooting thing, but with the patient, not with the machine necessarily. But so we adjusted the cuff, and boom, his blood pressure was fine. It was regular. So say that to say, don't feel like you have to know everything right away. Even with the experience that I've had, with the fact that I've stepped away, I feel like, so it's okay. Keep your head up. If anything, if it gets so hard to where you're like, I want to quit, try to hang in there at least a good 6 months to a year. I mean, I know someone, she ended up, and it was a nurse, and I was training her and I was helping her and whatnot, but she ended up going to another company. I think she worked with the company for 6 to 8 months, and then she ended up going to another company, but she felt like she got better training at the other company, and then she came back. So sometimes you got to do that. Or some people, they'll go to another clinic. You should be able to express certain concerns with your manager. If you feel like you're not being heard there, then you should be able to express certain concerns with your regional director or director of operations, whichever the company calls them, in that position. Just keep going up until you feel heard. And if you don't feel heard, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Because I'm like, what is it, I'm gonna say it's day 7 of being with the company, but day maybe 3 or 4, being on the floor a little bit and already hearing some of the drama. I'm like, that's the part I don't miss about having a permanent clinic. So floating was nice and fun because I ain't getting into the drama. I'm not gonna get into the drama here. I'm not. Mind my business. But floating, you really don't. I really don't get into the drama. I'm just here. You ain't gotta tell me nothing. I ain't gotta hear nothing. I don't want to know. So anyways, and I'm pretty good at shutting certain conversations down as it pertains to coworkers or staff or whatever, because I don't want to hear all that. And then you gotta know who's talking to you. Some people be talking to you for you not to like another person, versus some people just telling you, beware, be careful of what you say to this person. Because they could go back and twist it when they say it again. It's like playing telephone. It's gonna get misscrewed and jacked up by the time it gets to God knows who, and then you be looking crazy because you didn't open your mouth. So I just say all that to say in my little mini rants of the day, be careful, be mindful who you talk to, and also just don't give up. Things get better. I've left and come back, and I'm like, okay, focus. If you gotta have a goal, my goal is to finish school, by all means necessary. So do what I gotta do as it pertains to that. But if you're new, let me know down below where you're from, how long you've been working in dialysis. Are you okay? Are you good? Are you having a good day? And if not, I hope it gets better. All right, bye. Talk to y'all later.